Aloha everyone, kakahiaka, good morning. While we're waiting for everyone to get in and get settled, now's a great time to grab anything that you need to get in and get comfy. Maybe it's a glass of water or a hot cup of tea or coffee. Also, if you would like to smudge with me, it's a good time to grab those items as well. And if you don't have those items at home, that is perfectly okay. I will send some cleansing and healing energy your way as we begin to ignite the healing within. Good morning, everyone. It's a new day, another beginning, a chance to start fresh. The morning sun, with our smudge, we can cleanse, start again, reset. Sending you some healing energy, some positivity. Aloha kakahiaka, my name is Malia and I'm a community healer at the HIR Wellness Institute. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on the mental health and wellness of our relatives of Turtle Island, as well as other Indigenous and underserved communities, and also victims of crime. You can join me here every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. We will always breathe. We will always stretch. We will honor our ancestry and our cultural customs and traditions. We will explore new ways to integrate self-care and wellness into our daily lives. And we will always honor our strength and our resilience. So mahalo for joining me this morning. I'd like to take a moment to say good morning to all of our relatives out there. Dominique, good morning. I see you. And also take a moment to recognize our HIR Wellness team member that is here with us. We have our Community Engagement and Indigenous Affairs Director, Jamie Kellycutt. Jamie is also moderating this morning, so whenever you see the HIR Wellness Institute comment, that is Jamie. So Jamie, good morning. Our day already started out very well, and glad to be here with you. Also, good morning to Anna, and good morning to Sandra, my mom. Also, good morning to Colleen, and to everybody's names out there who I haven't mentioned. Sometimes names pop up, sometimes they don't. I'm not sure why. But I want to assure you and let all of our relatives know out there that this is a safe place for you. You are welcome here. You are welcome here to comment, ask questions, share your insight on your own cultural wisdom or your own personal wisdom and experiences. You never know who's out there who may need to hear just what it is that you're saying or asking. And we strongly here at the HIR Wellness Institute believe what we call, and has been coined and developed by our founder, Leah Denny, community activated medicine. And that means that the people are the medicine. So right here, right now, we are doing a wonderful act of self-care through community, through our relatives, through the support of each other. So thank you so much for taking the time in your day to be able to do this, to help not only yourself, but to help the rest of us out there who are together at this moment. Good morning, Terrell. And also I would like to take a moment to recognize our occupational therapist here, Claudia Meyer-Smith. What a wonderful group of people this morning. And for all of our relatives who are new out there, I want to let you know you are more than welcome to comment. You just need to like and follow the page, and we do that to avoid things like spam and make it safe for everybody here. So Yes, I think you can hear the music. It is quite energetic. And I will say, yesterday I was really tired during the check-in. And I did get a good night's sleep. So I feel awake and I feel great this morning. And I want to check in with all of our relatives out there. How are you doing this morning? How are you feeling? I'll give you a moment to respond. And I wanted to remind our relatives out there, sometimes we don't have the greatest days. Sometimes our days aren't always pleasant. And I want to let you know that you're not alone. And it's okay not to be okay. We all have those days. And if you're not feeling okay today, please do reach out to somebody that you trust, whether that be a family member or a friend. Maybe it's a coworker. And also you can reach out to our Cares Warm line. It's open every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can call or you can text and you'll get a response back within 24 hours. Our Cares Warm line will connect you to one of our Cares Warm counselors. Our counselors are absolutely passionate about walking alongside you on your journey when you need somebody to lean into and someone to talk to. You will be heard. You will be respected. There is no stigma here. I always say if I wasn't here at the HIR Wellness Institute, I would be calling the Cares Warm line, but I can just talk to these people right here at the Institute. But we do need to be able to lean into each other. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Cares Warm line is they can provide you not only with the emotional support that you really may need that may be helpful for you, but they can also provide you with resources that may be helpful as well. So no shame. We all need support. We all need mental health, wellness, and self-care. And that's what we're here for. Colleen says she's feeling fresh and awake, relieved, and thankful. Colleen, that is wonderful to hear. I am glad that you are feeling that way. It's always wonderful to see people or to know that people are in their mode and in a good place. Jamie says she is so happy to be here with everyone this morning. Same. It is a bright Tuesday morning. And for me, like I said, I got some good sleep last night. I got almost 7 hours of sleep, which lately I've been averaging more like 5 or 5.5 hours. And yesterday I was super tired. And I think also too, it's because I started back into my exercise regimen, and I've been averaging about 16,000 steps a day. And I think my body was like, whoa, wait a minute here. You definitely need some rest. So yesterday I got home from work, cleaned up a little bit, cooked some dinner, and then I laid down and relaxed. So for me, that was a win. That was an excellent day of self-care. And it's interesting how self-care can sometimes be not exercising, right? Because we look at, moments of self-care, some of the more traditional ways that we think of as talking to a counselor, seeing a doctor or a physician, eating something nutritious. And relatives, please do feel free to comment. What are some ways that we think of self-care? And a lot of times, too, it looks like exercise. But it's interesting how yesterday, part of my self-care routine actually meant removing the exercise, because I took a moment to listen to my body. And I did that just by really just taking a moment to be still, to deep breathe, and just ask myself, like internally, how are you feeling today? And I knew that my body was like, please, girl, don't exercise today. And I didn't. And I'm so glad that I didn't. And I feel much better. So yes, please do comment. What are you doing for self-care today? What have you done in the past? What are some things you'd like to do? Colleen says she is making corn mush. Colleen, wonderful. I can only imagine the health benefits. I'm sure they are plentiful. And let us know too, if you do know, Colleen, what kind of corn are you using? I know there's a lot of indigenous varieties of corn that are we're starting to see again, which is excellent news. But if it's a specific type, feel free to share with us, Colleen. Terrell says, I have had to learn self-care means going slow, letting others help, and drink water. Terrell, these are all fantastic points of self-care. And I think it's really great that you are able to recognize and what this means also specifically for you. Colleen, you have the Oneida white corn. Woohoo! I wanted to say real quick about that. At UWM, I think it was earlier this year at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, there was a woman, I forget her name, but she was an Oneida woman. And she came and she taught us all about Oneida, the white corn, and what the Oneida relatives are doing to bring that corn back. And it was so inspiring. So I'm so glad to hear you say that was the corn, Colleen, that you are that you're cooking. And that also reminds me too, in regard to Colleen, she's cooking this white corn, and I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this is an ancient corn. And isn't it amazing how when we go back to our ancient or traditional foods or life ways, oftentimes that really is our excellent moments of healing, self-care, and wellness. Very cool to know that when we integrate our cultural practices of our ancestors, that it is a great way to help heal us. So very cool. Good morning, Bree. And also back to Terrell, what you were saying about going slow. I hear that today. I hear that a lot. I tend to be one of those people who, when I'm anxious or nervous, I try to overwork, or I try to move quickly, or I try to just do so much at once. I'm not sure why. There might be some sort of like emotional compensation. And so I tend to rush. And of course, when we're rushing, we can increase our stress levels. Our heart rate can go up. So it's very interesting and very cool, Terrell, that you're saying slowing down for self-care. Also, letting others help. I know that so many of you relatives out there, including myself, are caretakers, are caregivers. Maybe you're taking care of your children or your grandchildren. Maybe it's your spouse or a family member. Maybe you're the one who your friends are always reaching out to lean into. And sometimes when we live in that way, it can be rewarding, but also conversely, it can be putting other people first to the point where we sometimes put ourselves on the back burner, and then it ends up impacting us in a way that doesn't serve us very well. So we do need to recognize that, as caretakers, as caregivers, as people who love our family and our friends, that we also have to be able to allow others to help us. And we also need to be able to reach out and lean into others when we recognize that that's something that can help serve us. And then, Terrell, on the last comment of self-care, what it means for you is drinking water. There is a relative in my family where she has been going through some health problems, and we were just kind of asking what we can do for self-care to help her. And she had admitted that she has not drinking a glass of water in a matter of probably decades. And she's facing some very serious health issues. So I had asked her, and her son had asked her, can you start drinking a glass of water every day? So last week she began drinking 1 to 3 glasses of water. And she said she cannot even explain in words how much better that her body is feeling. So we could talk on probably this whole video about water, but it is a good reminder, relatives, if you are one of those people who water is not your favorite thing, I always just start off in the morning chugging a glass of it with my vitamins, and sometimes I put citrus in it, and that really does help with your organ function and your body functions right away. So remember, our bodies are made up mostly of water, and we do need that in order to replenish ourselves. And I do not mean this in a preachy way, relatives. Let me tell you, I have to remind myself of these things all day, every day too. It is day by day. It is step by step. And if any of you out there have any comments or ways to maybe tricks or ways to help us to be able to do that, you're always welcome to comment here. Okay, before I talk away the rest of this video, let's take a moment to practice some deep breathing. Now, just like a glass of water, deep breathing is an absolutely immediate and wonderful way to practice a very simple yet profound act of self-care. So, it slows down the heart rate. It actually it can calm our minds. I often talk about what I call the rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole to me is when you get into your head space, and then the next thing you know, you have this worrying thought, and you're just cycling around the worry of that, or the anxiety of that, or the anger of that. And when you have these emotions that are just kind of, all of a sudden you might just feel like you're just in your head, and you like forgot where you're at, or your body. When you start recognizing that your mind is doing that, as soon as you recognize it, go into deep breathing, and I promise you that will really help to bring you back to your center and to calm you. All right, relatives, so here we go. I'm going to put my feet flat on the floor. I'm going to put my hands gently in my lap, but you can sit, lay, or recline however you feel comfortable. We're going to close our eyes if you like. Again, that's just optional, not mandatory. We're going to breathe in through the nose for a count of 4, and we're going to exhale through the mouth for a count of 6. Are you ready? Here we go. Deep inhale. And exhale. Deep inhale through the nose for 4. And exhale through the mouth for 6. Deep inhale for 4. And exhale for 6. Let's continue to deep breathe as we roll those shoulders. All right, we're going to take a deep inhale as we stretch out. You'll probably yawn here. Every time. Exhale as we bring that arm across, rolling out that wrist, stretching the shoulder and the upper back. Deep inhale, other side. And exhale. Rolling out that wrist, stretching that shoulder and upper back. Colleen says the smell of the corn is amazing. I bet. Bringing that hand out directly in front, pushing gently down on the fingertips, stretching the forearm and the wrist. If that doesn't feel good, you can just stretch your wrists here like this. I'm going to hit the other side. And really, quite honestly, relatives, these are just suggestions or just guidelines. You don't have to follow these stretches. You can stretch or move however you feel is good for you. Clasping those fingers, pushing those palms out, reaching up and gently bending from side to side. You may hear a gentle or like tiny little crackles of the back. And inhale and exhale as we push down on the opposite elbow, stretching that tricep. And other side. And let's finish with the neck stretch, looking side to center, side to center. Oh, I hear a little crack there too. Double tapping the ear towards the shoulder on each side and rolling the chin from shoulder to shoulder in the front. All the while deep breathing. And we'll finish by looking down gently towards our lap and up. Ah, that feels so good on the neck. One last time. How'd that feel, relatives? I hope that felt good. Always helps me to feel good in the morning. And anytime if you're feeling, remember, if you're going through moments of feelings that aren't serving you, that maybe don't feel very positive, then you just remind yourself to go to those deep breaths. Sometimes all it takes is 3 or 4 or 5 deep breaths and you'll instantly start feeling calmer. All right, I want to share the tea with you that I have this morning. Most of the teas that I drink are fava teas. I did have time this morning because I had a great night's sleep to prepare tea at home. Sharon, good morning. Good to see you. Glad you're here with us. The tea that I have today is fava tea. It is a green tea. I'll see if you can see it here in my thermos. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think you can actually see it. Oh, maybe a little bit there. It has a really beautiful golden color. It is a green tea. This tea is called Akaway. And Akaway has not only green tea, but I also gently steamed it. It has mint in it, and it has bits of citrus peel. It looks like orange or grapefruit. And it absolutely is a good lightly... So I'm caffeine sensitive. Green tea I can handle much better than coffee. And this morning it feels great to drink this green tea. Green tea is excellent for a lot of reasons. It helps with the metabolism. It helps with digestion. It actually has, it does have caffeine in it, so it does help wake me up, but not in the way that coffee does. It also helps with tooth decay or neutralizing cavities. It's excellent for the teeth as well. So cheers to everyone, all our super women, all of our supermen, all of our Wonder Women. All right, so Terrell says, the wrist exercise. I realized this morning that the achy, stiff feeling I had in the base of my fingers has lessened a lot since I started doing this stretch. Thank you. Terrell, that's awesome. That is so great to hear. So, relatives, we heard it right from another relative, right? The stretches can help as well. Terrell, I think you're doing a lot of tea. Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of teas that help when you're talking about achy joints and fingers, things that are anti-inflammatory. And so the first thing that comes to my mind is turmeric. Turmeric tea would be an excellent way. Also, Terrell, try drinking cherry juice, unsweetened organic cherry juice. There's some brands like Nudsens, Knudsens, that you can find at a lot of our grocery stores these days. You can get a jar, maybe has 4 cups or so of juice in it, and it might be about $6 to $8. But I've noticed it's excellent for people with gout or for people who are dealing with joint inflammation or inflammation of the body in general. Of course, guys, relatives, remember, speak to your physicians and doctors. But those for me are things that have worked. I drink cherry juice. Actually, sometimes I drink it with a little bit of chocolate milk, and it tastes like a chocolate-covered cherry. Anna says, where do you get all your different teas? Okay, so I want to first start with a disclaimer, everyone. I am not sponsored by any tea company, but I will consistently um, promote fava tea, Fava, fava tea. There's at least 2 locations in southeastern Wisconsin. One of them is on Blue Mound Road in Brookfield, just before you hit Waukesha. The other location, there's one on Greenfield, closer to West Allis and South Milwaukee. What I would say about fava tea, why do I like it? The quality, so because I've drank in so much tea over the years, I have found that fava tea has unsurpassed quality of their teas and their ingredients. There are other brands that have a lot of chemicals and preservatives in them. Fava tea does not. It is just these gorgeous ingredients. Just the other thing is you can buy by the ounce, so they're loose teas. But if you ever have a chance to go to the store and you live nearby or you're visiting southeastern Wisconsin, it is well worth the trip. I just cannot say enough about their teas. They have hundreds of flavors. I've tried probably 100 of their tea flavors and blends, and the majority of them are just out of this world in flavor, the aroma, just the potency and pungency of the teas. Fava tea, guys. And that I'm saying absolutely without any sponsorship whatsoever. That's how much I really do believe in their teas. Also, fresh ginger root is another thing that I go to. You can usually get it at the grocery store. Peel and coin, slice it, boil it. You can boil those roots over and over again. The other thing is turmeric, fresh turmeric root. Excellent flavors on both of those root teas. They're outstanding. But if I don't have those fresh on hand, I always go to my fava teas. Also here at the HIR Wellness Institute, when we do have wellness consults in person, which we don't now, but we do give teas as part of our wellness consult based on what you're feeling and maybe what you're feeling in your body or in your emotions. Sandra says, I need a gallon of Akeaway tea, seriously. Sandra, I know you have Akeaway tea at home. Sandra's my mom. Mom, I know you have Akeaway tea because I gave you some. So boil it up, Mom. Actually, don't boil it, steam it. Okay, Terrell says, yes, I started doing a lot of teas as medicine with a health situation, especially to minimize the side effects of prescribed medicines. Okay, good to know you're doing teas, Terrell. And I'm so glad that you mentioned prescription medicines because, of course, relatives, our safety, your health is number one during all of this, right? So make sure you do speak to your physicians. And a lot of times we might think that because it's natural that it's okay, but natural things can be very potent too. In fact, and sometimes I found they are more potent than the unnatural things that maybe you can take for ailments. So always, just to make sure you're safe, do talk to a doctor. Terrell says, thank you for the cherry juice suggestion. It tastes fantastic. There's no added sugars in it. And if relatives, you're anything like I am, I do this thing where I'll practice something of self-care, nutritionally especially, or tea. And while I'm drinking or eating the food, I will actually Google search the benefits of it. But I feel like it helps, and it's very inspiring. It's like, oh, I'm doing this great thing for myself right now. And you can learn about it. And this actually reminds me of some of our Indigenous practices, because when we're often harvesting medicines or harvesting foods to eat, for many of us, our cultural practices are to ask these relatives, like maybe we're about to harvest a plant relative to eat food or to get medicine. You can speak to your plant relatives and tell them what you need and how you want what it is that we are going to harvest and use or consume to help us. And so I think that's part of, like, when I'm Googling and eating like an avocado and I'm Googling the benefits of avocado, it's kind of like a modern way of doing that. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about the moon phase that we're in, and then we have these beautiful books that we will leave with some of the insight and affirmations that are in these books. Thank you again, Claudia, to our occupational therapist, for these books. She leaves them here at the HIR Wellness Institute for a resource, and we will definitely tap into them every chance that I get on these videos. So back to our cultural traditions. I know that all of us are come from diverse backgrounds, and I always like to share with you some of my ancestral teachings, which is the native Hawaiian moon calendar. And every day that we meet, I tell you about the moon that we're in. And right now, we just began into the beautiful phase that we call poi poi. And poi poi is one of our 10-day phases in the month. And it's the growing moon phase. So we're in the growing moon phase as we are getting close to the full moon. We're just a few days out from the full moon. I also wanted to point out there is a beautiful website I'm going to copy and paste for you so that you can feel free to visit this website on a daily basis. And it will actually tell you the moon phase that we are in according to Hawaiian ancestral teachings. So you can see it here on the comment section, Kamehameha Publishing. And when you click on that, it will show you this beautiful moon chart. And today we are in the moon called Mohalu. Mohalu is an excellent day for fishing. It's an excellent day for planting as well. So if you're a gardener, it's a great day to plant gourds or to plant root or tuber vegetables, as well as flowering plants. So it's fishing, planting, all great today. And for those of our relatives who are neither fishermen nor a gardener, that is okay. The way that I interpret that is it is a fruitful time to continue on in your path of wellness and self-care, continuing forward on maybe beginning new projects or beginning new goals. It is a fruitful time for any of these things. So do know that, at least according to my ancestral traditions, the moon, the sun, and the stars are in your favor today for productivity in any arena of your life that you're looking to be fruitful. Okay, let's see here. Let's start with Native Wisdom for White Minds, Daily Reflections Inspired by Native Peoples of the World by Ann Wilson Schaaf. This is broken down into, there's one every day. And so we are on the last day of June, everybody. It is the last day of June, Tuesday, June 30th. 4th of July is this weekend. And the days are flying by. This one is cool. It actually says aloha. So that's so funny. So I'll show you right here. So it's from many different indigenous cultures that this book will sort of incite wisdom from. And so that was really cool. Every race was put on this earth for a reason. The Hawaiians were for sharing the true essence of aloha, love for everyone and everything. The Reverend Akaiko Akana, he's a Hawaiian kupuna, which means he is one of the Hawaiian elders. Every race was put on this earth for a reason. The Hawaiians were for sharing the true essence of aloha, love for everyone and everything. This has been my experience. My Hawaiian family and friends have taught me more about loving than I have ever believed possible. They know how to do aloha. In Western culture, I am often perceived as a very loving, giving person, and I believe I am. Yet I find my white mind playing tricks on me when I am with my Hawaiian friends. For example, some of my friends invited me over for dinner, a salt scrub, and music. However, I also knew they were charging $50 for these soirees, which they held every weekend. I find myself running through a series of mental gymnastics about going. I loved my friends and wanted to support them, but I didn't like the caterer much. I loved Hawaiian music. I could steam anything I wanted to for free since I had contributed to the building of the steam room. It went on and on. I finally decided that the $50 was a contribution to my friends and not a fee for services rendered. And I felt fine about that, especially since I would be spending time with people I love. I arrived, ate, steamed, and was lovingly salt scrubbed, only to be informed that I was their guest. They wanted to give me this treat. Open hearts have a way of soothing closed minds. So I know a lot of our relatives out there, you hear that word aloha, and aloha, if you look it up in the Hawaiian dictionary, the definition's like a half a page long, but ultimately what it really means is humility, love, honor, respect, affection, care, caring for the land, caring for our children, caring for our relatives, caring for our elders, caring for our ancestors, caring for the water. It means family. Ohana means family, but it just means to treat everyone as if you're a family, that nobody gets left behind, nobody goes unfed, nobody goes uncared for or unloved. And that's the idea of the aloha spirit. It's much of the way that I practice my own spirituality and my own moral code. So that's aloha. That's what we're practicing now. We're taking care of each other, showing love to each other. Anna says, I appreciate the information on the different moons. One day my husband and I caught our limit on fish when you said it was a good day to fish. That's awesome, Anna. I wanted to say too, my son went fishing with his dad on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember which day, this past weekend. And I called him the night before and I said, you guys are going fishing, but this is an unproductive day for fishing. And this is an unproductive day for planting. And so when Kai came home yesterday, I said, hey, when you went fishing, did you catch anything? And he said, no, they didn't catch anything. None of them did. And so I guess even though it might be a Hawaiian teaching, that I guess the moon responds similarly out here in Wisconsin. So that was really interesting. And Anna, congrats on the catch. Let us know what you were catching. All right, and let's do one more. This also by Melody Beatty is Journey to the Heart, Daily Meditations on the Path to Freeing Your Soul. And let me read this one as well. Again, June 30th, last day of the year, or of the month. Last day of the year. Okay. Cherish your connection to the universe. My relationship with the universe used to be different. I felt separate, apart, disconnected from the rest of the world. My vision of God used to be different too. I used to see God as sitting on a throne, separate and apart from this world. I still see God as a supreme creative force, but the separateness is melting, changing, transforming into something new. Now I see God, the energy of God, and divine love as a part of all of this, the breath of life in every living thing. I used to see the world as a made up of individual and separate components. I used to see people as disconnected and essentially powerless in a world separated from God. Each thing person, an action, a distinctively different operation or event from any other, from the whole. Now I see a planet full of people connected to the divine. Now I see a universe connected by a divine thread that weaves throughout all that is, was, and will be. A living universe that is alive, magical, connected by universal love, and connected by divine love. Enter into a relationship with the universe, a relationship as alive, as active, as vital as any other relationship. Then know that you are connected to the world and everything in it. Know that universal love, divine love, is real, and you are an important part of it. The sacred circles, right? Understanding that we as human beings are not separate from our relatives. We are not separate from the water. We are not separate from the land. We are not separate from our finned relatives, our two-legged relatives, our plant relatives, our four-legged relatives. We are not separate from any of these things. At least that's how I see it as an Indigenous person. We are all connected, interconnected like an ecosystem. The moon is important. The sun and the stars are important, just as clean rain, clean water is important. Just as the soil is important and the air is important. We cannot separate ourselves from these things. And the more that we understand our relationship with these things, for me, at least me personally, an Indigenous woman, as a Native Hawaiian woman, I find healing in that. I find strength in that. And I find that that sort of inherent love actually can begin to repair ourselves, but it also begins to repair each of those things that are interconnected within us and to each other. Terrell says, liking the phrase connection to the universe. Connections, more than just relationship. We are interconnected. I consider myself a semi-hermit, so I appreciate hearing this. Thank you for sharing, Terrell. And even though Terrell, you might be a semi-hermit, which I kind of feel like I am that way too, and I actually think most of us have to be this way right now, just because of what's going on in society and in the world right now. But yeah, we can still remain connected through spirit. We can remain connected through the elements, through the wind, through our intentions of love and healing. So thank you so much for sharing that. Relatives, I hope that you have a wonderful day, a day filled with moments of peace, moments of reflection, moments of self-care, moments of honor for who you are, how resilient you are, how strong you are, where you came from and where you're going. I want to say mahalo nui loa for joining me this morning. Malama pono I kokino, take good care of your body. Aloha nui, big lots of love to you all. Before we go, do please take a moment to click on the community survey that is listed here in the comment section. It is completely anonymous. It asks just a few questions, and it helps us to understand how best to serve you. Have a wonderful day. Ahui aho aku no. I'll see you later. Aloha. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m.